During the Kursk operation conducted by the Ukrainian Defense Forces on the territory of the Russian Federation, Russia and North Korea lost 62.4 thousand and more than 4.5 thousand soldiers respectively. This was reported by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Since August the 6th, 2024, when the Ukrainian Defense Forces began the Kursk operation, Russia has lost 62.4 thousand personnel in the operational zone of the Kursk group of forces, of which 25.2 thousand were lost irretrievably, 36.2 thousand are sanitary losses. Another 983 servicemen of the aggressor army were taken prisoner, which made it possible to conduct exchanges with the Russian Federation and return hundreds of Ukrainian soldiers home from Russian captivity, the General Staff noted. The total losses of the DPRK army in the Kursk direction amount to more than 4.5 thousand killed and wounded, the report says. Since August the 6th, 2024, the armed forces of Ukraine have been conducting an offensive operation in the Kursk region of the Russian Federation. According to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, the Russian Federation has transferred 60,000 troops to this direction, including those taken from the front in Ukraine. The head of state stated that the creation of a buffer zone in the Russian region by the Ukrainian army is one of the main tasks of the defense forces. Recall, Russia acknowledged for the first time that North Korean troops were on the front lines of its war with Ukraine, with a senior military official crediting their role in helping Russian forces reclaim control of the Kursk region. I would like to separately note the participation of military personnel of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Valery Gerasimov, the Russian Chief of General Staff, told Russian President Vladimir Putin in a report. Gerasimov added that under a comprehensive strategic partnership between the two countries, North Korean soldiers have provided significant assistance to Russia's army in defeating Ukrainian forces. Putin congratulated his military in a statement from the Kremlin on Saturday, adding that the full defeat of the enemy in the Kursk border region creates conditions for further successful actions by our forces on other important parts of the front.
Unknown individuals have reportedly opened the grave of Hafez al Assad, father of Syria's Bashar al-Assad, and exhumed the remains of the body in Kharkiv, in northwestern Syria. It is unknown in what direction the body has been taken and what has been done to it. Footage circulated in social media shows what appears to be the mausoleum of Hafez al Assad, with a hole in the center where a grave marker once stood. It should be noted that opposition fractions led by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, known as HTS, ousted Bashar al-Assad during a major offensive in December 2024, ending nearly 30 years of Assad dynasty's rule. Shortly after their victory, the Syrian rebels stormed Hafez al-Assad's mausoleum and set the tomb on fire.
As a result of the events of recent years, Kalinrad is virtually cut off from the main part of Russian territory. According to Professor Michael Clark of King's College London, the West needs to make further efforts to completely blockade this semi-exclave. We have done quite a lot of work. As a result of the war, Kalinrad was effectively cut off from ground transportation. Kalinrad is under pressure and the Russians feel it. The pressure can be increased even more, Clark noted on Sky News. At the same time, NATO is concerned about the Suwalki corridor, which connects the Kalinrad region from Belarus. The professor believes that Russian troops could use this route to break through. However, the North Atlantic Alliance is prepared for such a scenario and will not allow it to happen. Many in NATO worry that Kalinrad is an outpost of Russian aggression. I think it is the other way around. Kalinrad is vulnerable because it is surrounded by NATO. Michael Clark is sure. In this context, The analyst believes it is important that Sweden and Finland have joined the Western military bloc. In this situation, Kalinrad is even more isolated from Russia. Earlier, former Deputy Secretary of State of Poland, Putler, expressed the idea that the Russian armed forces could go to seize the Suwalki Gap and thereby cut off the Baltic countries from the rest of Europe. Russian troops may initiate the seizure of the Suwalki Corridor, which connects Belarus with the Kaliningrad region. Thus, the Baltic countries will be cut off from the rest of Europe. He added, "Yes, such a situation could exist, but look how quickly NATO is collapsing," the politician noted on air at Radio NV. Kulpa recalled that Biden considered a small invasion of Russian troops, which is not a war, to be entirely possible. Trump, however, does not provide Europe with the security guarantees it needs, since he demands that the continent's countries allocate at least 5% of their GDP for NATO needs. Now, the European armed forces, which do not have their own intelligence and buttons, are not capable of resisting external aggression. At the same time, Washington's rapprochement with Moscow creates a situation of strategic uncertainty in Russia's relations with China.